Well, hello, welcome back to Print Island and to the Lighthouse. My name is Richard Askam, and I am, as you know by now, the Lighthouse Keeper, in charge of everything that happens at the top of this wonderful building with this 360-degree view that we have of the industry. And of course, as you know by now, I get to invite pretty much who I want to come and join me. And it's Monday morning, and I can't believe I found anybody that wants to get up on a Monday morning and join me in the Lighthouse, other than my good friend, Cathy Bittner. Hi, Cathy.
Good morning, Richard. Very happy to join you in your lighthouse.
Well, that's nice. It's nice to have you here. And actually, the sun is nearly shining, so maybe, and in the world that we're in at the moment, maybe sunshine is that all we've got to cling on to.
Yeah, it's omen for us this morning, Richard.
I think so. We'll take that. Listen, it's lovely to see you. And we've known each other for quite a while now. But if there's anybody watching or listening to this that doesn't know who Cathy is, give us the 30-second flyby of Cathy Bittner. Tell us who you are and what you do.
I am Cathy Bittner. I work for Canon Europe, and I am a strategic business developer there.
Wow, I didn't even have time to swallow my coffee. That was the fastest elevator pitch that I've ever heard in my life. So let's dig into that then, because there's a huge difference, I think, between what people understand of business development and what people understand of strategic business development, because there's a long-term goal really in your thinking and your play. And in the time that I've known you, which is now, I want to say about 8 years since we first started working together, that I'm guessing what you thought was your strategy 8 years ago for 2026. Is that playing out, or has it changed?
I would say in the big picture, it hasn't changed. It's just the timings are always different than you think they are originally, as we know.
Yeah.
But what does strategic business development mean for Canon? Well, I mean, Canon, we're all about basically being the partner for the digital transformation. That's from the outset. That has been the way we've gone to market. And basically, what that means is that we have to envelop not just our own customer base, but also the customers of their customers. So we have, with the way technology is developing, if we want to leverage that technology, we have to bring the supply chain with us. We have to understand what they need. We have to let them understand what we can do for them. So it's very much that sort of the broader approach. So I would spend a lot of time, probably more with the customers of our customers than I do with our own customers. Yeah.
Can you hear that knocking on the door?
No. Can you hear the Hoover?
I can. Somebody is knocking on the door.
Okay.
I'm just going to go and I'm going to go and see who's at the door. Oh, hang on. Now I can see who it is. We're being joined, Cathy, in the Lighthouse.
Entschuldigung. Sorry.
Don't worry. Look.
Nicht jetzt. Nicht jetzt. Danke. Nee.
Hello.
Yeah.
Shh. Look, she's back. Look who's arrived. Just as you were checking who's in the door, Jennifer's walked into the Lighthouse this morning. So good morning, Jennifer. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. So sorry for my technical issues this morning.
Don't worry. Well,
crazy.
We're already recording here in the Lighthouse, so you are absolutely live and livid. Cathy and I have just been chatting. She's just been to tell the guy who's outside my door to be a bit quieter because he's hoovering. It's just the way that we roll on Print Island. I'm so sorry. So, but it's lovely to see you.
We only hoover once a month, but it happens to be just right now. So.
Once a month is all I do as well, to be honest. So that's absolutely fine. But listen, it's lovely to have you join us as well. So thank you for that. And Jennifer, Cathy has just very briefly just introduced herself. I didn't even have time to drink my coffee. So maybe perhaps for the viewers and listeners of Print Island, you could do the same and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Of course. Well, Jennifer Kolloczek is my name, and I have the pleasure of leading the marketing efforts for production print and graphic arts at Canon for the EMEA region. And with that, what we are, of course, trying to do is supporting our customers the best way we can, with, on the one hand, understanding what we have to offer, and then helping them get the most out of being our partner, our customer, when we got that far. So it's very exciting, and lots of exciting things happening on our side.
Well, that's great, and we were just chatting before you arrived, Jennifer, that with Cathy's role as strategic business development, that almost it's quite hard, I think, to separate your almost the day-to-day operational delivery from the 5, 10, 15, 20-year horizon of strategic planning. And Cathy, you were just talking about that before Jennifer arrived. Let's go back into that a second, because I think the two things, I get the sense that the two things collide, but in a good way. So, when you go back into what you were saying about that overview that you've got for where Canon is going in the industry.
Yeah, basically, from the outset, our objective has always been to be the partner for the digital transformation for our customers. And we've understood for a very, very long time that partnership is long term, but it's also working with our customers to understand the opportunities with their customers. So it's always been that further outreach. And that's what I was just saying. That's where if we don't, the possibilities that our printers or that our customers can offer with the technology and with the advancements in that technology, it's they're only really valuable if we understand what their customers need and if their customers understand how their printers can help them. So it's really building that bridge.
Is there a risk in that then, Jennifer? Because I always think technology is moving fast. We know that, and almost so fast that we don't even notice the speed that it's going at. Is there a risk? And I say this, with no sort of agenda at all. Is there a risk that when you are developing technologically, that you almost have that risk of leaving the customer behind, and they're not moving as fast as you guys are? Do you see that, or do you feel as though you're absolutely aligned?
I actually think that it's a pretty good balance between, on the one hand, our technological advances coming from the inside and also being driven by our customers. I think when Cathy was talking about longer term partnerships that we have with our customers, that also means as a good partner, you challenge each other. And you show each other opportunities, but you also bring in things where you say, you know what, great that I have this press or this technology right now, but my business vision is actually going there. Our customers have strategic plans and long-term plans just as we do. And the question is, are you in that conversation early enough together as a partner to get there together? And that is what we strive for, and that is I think what also makes us a great innovator in that space, and also really drives our technological advances. If we're looking at their business needs and business vision, and our technological capabilities and our strategic vision, and how that goes together. So, is there a risk? I don't think so, but I think it's a great challenge, and diamonds, how do they say that? Come to fruition under pressure.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, no, I get that. And I guess, Cathy, and that's a great answer, and I'm really pleased you put it that way, actually, because it shows the thought that goes into this, that it's not just technological development for the sake of it, that it has to have a strategic purpose, which is always useful for any business. But there's the third element here, isn't there, that we haven't touched on yet, which is your customer's customer. And their expectation from them, which becomes their expectation from you. And I guess, and it's not quite 20 years since the iPhone was invented. Do you remember the days when there just used to be phones? Happy days. And everybody's behaviour as consumers, and us included, has changed in that not quite 20 years. So I guess our demands back up to our suppliers, and therefore their demands back up to you, have changed significantly, and continue to change, the advent of AI and everything that's going on in our world today. Do you think that strategic planning, Cathy, needs to speed up because of that acceleration from consumer demand?
If it needs to speed up, I don't feel from our side that it needs to speed up. I think, as I said, that consumer behavior is definitely driving the demand. And if I maybe go back into the promotional space for a second. I mean, what we see at the moment is, and we've just had a launch with the drum at the Predictions event. The tenor of the event was this sensory shift back to physical. So it's actually, I would say, the timing is lovely. You know, I mean, we've talked about it a lot of times, and you've talked about it on our stages a lot of times.
Yeah.
But it really seems that we had a guy called Stephen from the Advertising Association, and he was talking about the efficiency death spiral. You know, and this was such an interesting concept, because it was like, okay, digital marketing is almost killing itself through efficiency, but the brand is losing its perception and awareness. And so I would say, you know, print is going to be something that's going to actually have its place there with that. So yeah. What was your question again? Do I think it's
I can't remember now, to be honest. I was so enjoying the answer, I've forgotten the question. But I think it's a really good point, Jennifer, because, you know, and Cathy referenced it there. You know, I've had the pleasure to stand on Canon stage in Poing several times and talk about the physicality, the touch points, the human nature of promotional print to a certain extent, but actually all print. There's a real, you know, tangible value to that, and I guess in an era where, you know, there was, all right, the accountants probably got very excited about digital marketing because you can get further and it costs less, and I get that, but does it work, you know, is the key. And I can remember talking to Colin Strong at the Future Promotion Forum, you know, a few years ago, about the psychology, us as human beings, what do we actually like? You know, because if we like to receive something and we can touch it and sniff it and feel it and wear it and whatever it is that we want to do with that thing, it becomes part of us, whereas digital can, if you're not careful, pass you by. Do you, from a consumer perspective, take your Canon hat off, put your consumer hat on, and think, you know, when you receive promotional information from any business and it's for you, it has a greater value. Is that right?
It definitely does. I mean, you know, you have the usual mail drops, or you have the programmatic mailings that you get and that say, Jennifer, didn't you forget something? Or by the way, I think you like that. It definitely gets the additional seconds of attention. And I also, you know, but as a consumer, even though I love to get something in print because I'm in the print industry, but still, as a consumer, you have something in your hands, you think automatically you need to look at it. And if I'm looking at the way that I'm cleaning up my email inbox, then it's more like the bunch of everything is already nicely put into a junk spam promotional folder by the provider, and you say delete all. And so in that sense, that power of print to make you pause, to really look at things, and then you know, to possibly react on that, definitely. And if not immediately, then it's really about the longer term. And I mean, we who are also in marketing, you know, it's not only about the direct transactional gains, it's also about the brand perception. And, you know, we were talking about, you know, longer term partnerships that we want to have with our customers. Like that, every single brand wants to stay longer term in the minds of their customers. And that attention grabbing, that's really something that print adds now that we are living almost only digitally.
And I guess it's, you know, and I go back to 2021, Cathy, when we were sat at your wonderful customer experience center in Poing, pretending that COVID wasn't happening, and we were all there and had the studio set up, and we basically did the Future Promotion Forum as like a TV show, didn't we? And I remember talking to Gordon Young from the Drum, and I think you just started the campaign with them at that point, or just prior to that point, and he was reflecting back to us the value that the students were getting from receiving the physical printed attributes of their work. So even though it was digital art, they were being sent back, you know, in its creation, they were being sent back the physical thing. We've got a whole new generation, you know, coming, seeing print for the first time. And that it's like a sense of wonderment. It's brilliant to see, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, it's almost a novelty to them.
Mm.
But the thing is, and I think, and that's what we have really understood. I mean, the digital channels are there; they're set. They're not going to go away. So it's about print fitting in, enhancing, being part of that. And I think that's where I think we're finally at a stage in the industry. I think where it's rife now to actually the brand's appreciation now from from the discourse that we're having. And like, as I said, we've just done the predictions event with the Drum to launch this year's new project, and we put 200 pieces of print into everybody's hands at that event, just to feel something. And it's just all we said was just feel it, and it's just like, oh yeah, okay, and we have a bit of a job to do to drive the awareness for what's possible, but the willingness, I think, has changed to listen to us.
That's brilliant, and that
yeah.
and that's that way lies success, Jennifer, doesn't it? Because I think when you know this, you're much cleverer at marketing than I'll ever be, but you have to be able to offer a blend of attributes to customers, and I can't remember the statistic of how many touch points a customer has to see before they make the decision to buy. I know it's double figures. But when you can blend that digital and physical marketing, and also personalized, and also programmatic, the whole scope of what's on offer now is quite the suite of services, isn't it? It must make your life really easy.
Well, I wouldn't say that it makes life really easy, but it makes it very, very exciting. Because what Cathy just said, that I think we're at a turning point, yet another turning point. I think in print, and mostly so in the perception of print. I don't even think so much in the performance of print, because that was there before, but in the perceptions that, on the one hand, brands and creatives want to listen, and consumers from a digital saturation point of view think, okay, hey, this is something special. This is actually here's someone who's really thinking about me, because they're actually investing in me by sending me something. And what is exciting is that it's about integration of the digital and the physical channels, of course. And that can be, we're talking about mailings, for example, here, but same goes with the experiences, right? You have a whole experience of a brand digitally, and that doesn't have to go all the way into a metaverse. It can be a landing page, can be a website, etc. And then you go into the physical store, and it should be either enhancing each other, or at least matching, and you need to reinvent yourself over and over and over again digitally, because otherwise it's not interesting anymore to come back to your digital channels. So how do you quickly do that in your retail environment as well? And there, of course, print gives you lots of opportunities these days to change the physical appearance of a store in no time, and in a very sustainable manner in that sense as well. So I think, that's there are many different touch points, and all of them can be enhanced through the combination and the integration of digital and physical.
And I guess that, I get that, and I guess the old sort of methodology or thinking that things had a life cycle. And they do have a life cycle, but that life cycle has got shorter because digital and tech. I said this a million times now. You've probably both been bored to tears listening to me say it. But the print industry is the tech industry. It just doesn't know it, so it tends to think quite. What's the best way to do it? Not analog, because I don't want to be disrespectful, but it's that there is definitely a speed of thought within the physical print industry that isn't necessarily the same as the digital and physical marketing industry. So that balance of keeping those two, you said it was quite well balanced. It's never going to be perfect, we know that. But where do you see going forward, Cathy? With your strategic hat on, do you see that continuing desire for new, because we all want something new, don't we? The shininess of new doesn't last as long as it used to do back in the good old days.
Do you mean from the print Printers are from the, just in general, from the market.
Kind of both, because one
Yeah.
feeds the other, doesn't it, to a certain extent?
Yes. Yeah. I I don't know. I think if we think, I've lost my train of thought. I was actually going to answer your question with something else, but what I think is if I the way we're framing at the moment, for example, our proposition to the print buyer market, because we believe that we need more awareness and we believe we need more collaboration. And the problem is, like, the first step, okay, is to make them aware, they're excited about it, they see it, whatever. And then the second step is, okay, but how do they do it? Because and the because digital marketing is so present, and it has really has kind of taken over really most of the marketing budget. So we have to actually help these companies, because a lot of the time the skills are not even there anymore, that they know how to actually do print. So that's why we have to go on a journey of collaboration. We have to give them the opportunity to try out things. And like the project that we will do this year will be basically to excite them to get involved. And once they get involved, then to kind of network them to people, to print providers, to other people with competences within our ecosystem, that they can actually do something and try something in a safe environment. So it's it's a journey of, we have to kind of go the way with them and take them by the hand and show them. And the way I totally believe that we can frame this, and that we should frame this, is that we can, if they want to really leverage their digital marketing, they expand their touch points with physical touch points. And that's and I think that's a really lovely proposition that we can give to them.
And I think that, and you do that really well already. Sorry, Jennifer, you go.
No, it's just, Richard, if I can add to that, the kind of speed of innovation, of speed of wanting something new. I think the way that we're also looking at it, it's about now trying to understand what's coming next, right? And we do this. I think you do this in these, bringing this platform on Print Island as, dialogue, conversation. Let's all share our thoughts and together with that elevate the industry. And we're doing this for for more than a decade already as well. The thoughts of having kind of providing insights to the industry, that can be print service providers, can be brand owners, can be creatives. And I think the last one that we did, the future of print. It was really about looking forward. If you're looking forward and think about 10 years, think about 20 years, but talking to people outside of the industry, and then thinking of what is the backdrop of communication, what's the backdrop of consumerism, of manufacturing in that time frame. And if you do that, if you're thinking strategically, that's how we started the conversation. I think then it's not so much about, okay, I need quick new steps. It's more of that continuous innovation on the way to executing your vision, but also understanding, okay, what are the different scenarios that I need to navigate, and that, I think, is the conversation that we all can have. And then one of the topics that we found was that, okay, there is this shift to physicality. Print can integrate very well into the overall communication channels, as we know, but now the perception is there as well. But we also, all of us, and also the print service providers themselves, we need to take that role of being the advisor, because we still have that knowledge of what print can do. So let's spread the word. And the example from the drum is one of them that we're doing. And and I think that's really important, and also bringing that message to the next generation, because that's I think that's another trend, right?
That's the critical piece, isn't it, really? Because if we don't do that, then there's no point doing what we're doing, really, in that regard. And Cathy and I were chatting just before you arrived, Jennifer, about my desire for Print Island. Really is to become the Spotify for print, because all of the information and all of the reference points and all of the touch points should be available to everybody to be able to find out. And I'm we're well on our way to achieving that, and not quite 12 months into it. But these conversations are the reference points, if you like, to where we are, where we'd like to be, where we've been, because the history is our friend as well. And you use this in music parlance every now and again. It's great to listen to a track from 30 years ago that reminds you of whatever you were doing 30 years ago. So in that regard, if we get this right, and which I'm hoping that we are doing, the work that you're doing today for 10 years time is as important as the work that you did 10 years ago for today. And you can go and look at those touch points and see where the wins are to a certain extent. Marketing is quite simple in my head. You find out what works and do more of it, and you find out what doesn't work and you do less of it. But that's a constantly changing thing, isn't it? And it's the struggle, I guess. Cathy, you must find this when you're thinking with your strategic hat on, that you shouldn't just dump ideas because they haven't worked today, because they might work tomorrow.
Totally. And that's, when you asked me before, what is, like, if I say, has the plan developed? The plan is developing, but the time frame not. So that's why you always have to, you have to sometimes be very patient, to be honest. But it's about learning as well. And the learnings and that's why we do all this kind of thing, because it's only when you actually start doing together that we learn, and then we realize maybe the problem is not print or digital or something else. Maybe the problem is somewhere totally different, and I think that's the most exciting part about it. It's actually this delving into this supply chain and really understanding, do we understand each other? And I think, like, most of the time I figure out we don't even think about understanding each other, really. We're so busy doing what we're doing. So that's breaking down those silos, I think, is probably the most steadfast and also the most foundational kind of work we can be doing. Because to come up with a brand new application and everyone jumps on it, that's an easier thing to do than to break down the silos in organizations and everything else. And the biggest silo we have at the moment is to onboard our digital friends within these brands and agencies, and to show them that together we are something a lot more powerful than on our own.
And it's the fundamental sort of flaw, if you like, Jennifer, in sort of marketing and communications. When an organization has a plan and they all agree that it's a great plan and this is how we're going to communicate it, it needs to be road tested whether the consumer, whether your customer, whether their customer is understanding it too. Because if we're quite simple creatures as human beings, if we don't understand something, we probably won't buy it. So the rolling out the information and the comms around any sort of new launch, or even going back to things that you've launched before, because it's too easy to forget good things, isn't it, that have worked in the past. That's the challenge for you guys and your teams, is to keep talking about that music from the 60s as well as talking about next year's music as well.
Yeah, of course, because some of that music of the 60s of the printing industry is in the market for a long time. If you're looking at technologies, right? We're talking about at times decades of presses running well, which is great. But indeed, then you need to go all the way back to compare to the current. But I think most important is with everything is to keep in contact, keep the conversation going, and the conversation with your direct customers, the customers of your customers, but also with, just as you said before, take off your marketing hat, take off your Canon hat. You're a consumer. What do you think then? It's like we're all people, and these days, if I'm looking at the digital digestion that is out there, and not knowing anymore at times when I'm looking at a video and I'm thinking, on the one hand, if I know it is, for example, made by AI, I think, wow, amazing. And on the other hand, I'm looking at another video and I'm thinking, is it now real or not? And And that, for me personally, it freaks me out at times a little bit, and then I'm really happy, to get something that's, it's on paper. Of course, you can also write whatever you want on paper, but someone kind of dared to put this literally in writing for me to keep. Here's an evidence of something that at this point in time really happened, and it's not gone tomorrow because someone deleted it from a channel. So that builds that trust of the physical, really. Supported by behavioral science and everything, but for me as a consumer, I still feel that, and what I also really like is when we are challenging. So right now with the drum, for example, we're challenging the current, creative force that is out there. But when we are working at times also with kind of future talent, right? For example, because the print industry, you said before, for you it's the tech industry. So how do we get more talent into that tech industry? Because sometimes we're looked at as a little bit antiquated, which is absolutely not the fact, right? We're absolutely high tech. But then to bring in young talent and have that conversation, and then look at what comes out of that, if you actually show them, by the way, poster is printed, by the way, that the graphics on the van are printed, by the way, your T-shirt is printed too, the lanyard that you have on is, and like, oh, wait a second, print is a lot more than I thought, and then they automatically bring it together with digital. This is not. There's no need to actually say, please think of the digital reality as well. That's where we live in, and now it's bringing a kind of print back in, and that is just what I mean with, we need to stay and keep the conversation going.
Yeah,
definitely.
And it just reminds me, I think we probably, because we've been doing this for a long time, we get a bit blind. Yeah. And I actually had a school class recently in our showroom here in Poing, because they're doing a project on, guess what, cookbook. So you bring like these 16-year-olds into, and like show them around our showroom, and they're like, it's totally new for them. And then the highlight is then you give them a personalized cookbook to take home with them, and they're like so excited about it. And you're thinking, God, I'm not allowed to forget what kind of excitement this just brings. And for us, that's so trivial, So it's
Yeah. And I know exactly what you mean. And as human beings, we are, again, I think, quite simple emotional creatures. And when you find those things 10 years from now, in a drawer, or you're moving house and they're in a box or something, they trigger. And it's the physicality and the tangibility of that emotional interaction that triggers the memories, isn't it? Which is kind of what our whole universe is all about. And you're right. I think we forget, from an industry perspective, the impact that what we're doing has on people that we'll never meet. And that, it's quite hard when you run a business customer to customer, but you never meet their customer, even though they're part of that same value chain. It's the hardest thing to bridge, isn't it?
And I mean, it's kind of fascinating how many people print photos today, photo books. Like it's just, I mean, I suppose, Jennifer, for us, that has been a real revelation, and also in the development of our technology. I mean, that we wouldn't, 10 years ago, probably we would have dreamed of being in the photo book market. And today we're sort of, I would say, kind of leading that market really with the technology, but we have grown with those customers as well, and like, I mean, for me, I did not realize that so many people were printing photographs as they are today.
Yeah. So that's definitely that, I think, comes back to that challenging each other as well, right? Customers of ours, having a certain press, in this case, inkjet, and then really testing a lot with it. We always pushing the boundaries of what is possible, which is great, which then gets back to us and says, okay, this is what we really want to do, but really, Canon, you need to make this extra step. So, okay, let's work together. Let's work out that innovative step that you need, and we did it. And yeah, and now it's extremely successful for them, and indeed brings lots of memories to consumers. If I was so happy at Christmas because, frankly, with my family, I'm not talking print the whole time, but I got the personalized puzzle, and I was like, oh my god! Like, and so I asked my mother who gave me that present. I was like, so how did you come to that idea? She said, yeah, well, I saw this online and I thought that was a great idea, and for her it was something totally new. And for me, of course, I'm thinking, okay, wow, I'm surrounded with this every day, but for someone to put in that time, because then she was talking about, yeah, and I had to look at all the photos and select this and bring it all together, and the ones that I think are the most memorable for you, and that is a value that this gift has, that you can't buy a designer clothes or something of thousands of euros that give me at least that much value, and that's just amazing how print connects, and happy to keep that.
And that's the bit that we forget, isn't it? Really, because it's double the value, in fact, because there's value for the maker, the buyer of the gift, the creator, and then value for the recipient, and then both of those things added together are worth more than the sum of the parts, and then never get thrown away as well. By the way, this is something else that people forget. That they're keepsakes, they're mementos. They're not just merch. Clothing comes, clothing goes. We know that. Everything comes, everything goes. But those sentimental, emotional connection points, touch points that you enable, from those big shiny machines down in the customer experience center. And you'll never meet the people that it has the impact on, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. I think that's what you guys do so well. Brilliant. Listen, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for joining me in the Lighthouse. As you can see, the sun is now starting to shine in my right eye, and I'm moving that way. But it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm glad you're enjoying Print Island. Thank you for coming on today as well. And I look forward to seeing you somewhere in person later on this year.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Yeah.
Nice to see you. Take care.
Okay. See you soon.